We said this would happen. We said it was already happening. And now you have more evidence that it continues to happen. 16 white supremacist gang members have now been charged in a sweeping federal indictment out of Florida. Now, here's what's ironic about this story. We actually covered one of the gang members earlier this week right here on this program. Now, we were unaware that this person was a member of this murderous gang, but we did say that his 2-day sentence was quite light. Now, remember this individual who was sentenced, Curzio, who is a capital rioter, a terrorist, was sentenced to 6 months credit for time served, which meant he only received 2 additional days. Let me give you some background to this gang. A group who calls themselves Unforgiven requires its members to study Aryan philosophy. Aryan philosophy. They also require their members to carry out various acts of violent crimes against other people. Now, I want you to understand the insanity of this. They have to study Aryan philosophy to be members of this white supremacist gang. And they are the ones who are telling everyone else that critical race theory is destroying K through 12 education. Same people. 16 members of a Florida-based white supremacist group who went by the names such as Shrek, Pretty Boy, and Scumbag, sounds fitting to me, have been charged in a 12-count racketeering indictment accusing them of engaging in acts of murder, kidnapping, and other offenses. That's according to NBC News. And you heard right, ladies and gentlemen, that the indictment claims they were involved in murder and kidnap. It gets deeper. The indictment also claims Unforgiven used who? Corrupt law enforcement officers and state employees to gather information about people, investigations, and prosecutions, and to smuggle contraband to incarcerated inmates, including into the Columbia Correctional Institution in Lake City. Okay, there's a lot to unpack in that one proclamation from the United States government. But let me remind you, this 16-person indictment only includes the individuals who are members of the gang. That's according to the indictment. These individuals, these criminals, these thugs engaged not only in criminality, but they engaged in terrorism. That is what they engaged in. By definition, terrorism is the use of criminality, the use of violence, the use of criminal aggression in order to make a political point. But who did they use to make this political point? They used corrupt cops and state employees. Well, where in the hell are the corrupt cops? I don't see them listed on the indictment. Where are they at? The federal government has just told us through the indictment that corrupt police officers actually helped them get information on people, get information on investigations that were occurring, but I don't see them in the damn indictment. Where are they? And do you really believe that these law enforcement officials who are assisting this gang are disconnected from some type of systemic expression in the United States of America? No, they are part of it. They are a product of what's happening in the United States. That should be the most damning sentence in any federal indictment, that a white supremacist gang received assistance routinely from members of law enforcement and state government employees. Now, here's the other question. Why aren't people on the right outraged by this? Why aren't they saying things like, we can't believe our taxpayer dollars are being spent on actual corrupt cops? These cops need to go. Why have they not said anything? Why are they not coming out being aggressively against these individuals, these criminals? Why are they not calling for the federal government to release the names of these police officers who are caught up in this corruption. You know why they're not calling for the release of their names? You know why they're not talking about the bad cops that the federal government has obviously said are present in this gang chaos? Because it doesn't fit their political narrative. That is the only reason why. So all of the jargon about they want to protect and serve, all of this mess about they support police officers. You're not supporting police officers if you're not willing to stand against the bad ones. You're not supporting the industry of policing if you're not willing to call out those that give the industry a bad name. There's more. The group required its members to study Aryan philosophy. Remember I told you these are the same people against critical race theory, and carry out acts of extreme violence to gain entry into the gang, the indictment says. They were also required to get tattoos, which include swastikas, iron crosses, and SS bolts, pay dues, and attend regular meetings known as church, the court papers say. Regular meetings known as church, or church known as regular meetings. Which one is it? There's more. Jacksonville resident, and I've been trying to locate these individuals. I cannot find all 16, but Jacksonville resident William Walker, AKA the Duke, was charged with conspiracy. Ryan Howard, AKA Otto, was charged with assault and conspiracy. Levi Sharp, AKA Sketch, was accused of 1 count of assault and 1 count of kidnapping. Ryan McLaughlin, AKA Pretty Boy, was charged with conspiracy. Let's put up their pictures. That's who they are. Take a good look, ladies and gentlemen, at people that say they are part of the superior race. Individuals who would like to see death to those who do not look like them nor think like them. That's at least 4 of them. Another member of the group, his name is Michael Curzio. If that name sounds familiar to you, it is because we covered this individual earlier this week because a federal judge let him off on a light sentence. Another member of the group, Michael Curzio, pleaded guilty Monday to participating in the storming of the US Capitol on January 6th. He was sentenced to 6 months in prison, but was set to be released from jail this week after receiving credit for time served. Let's put his picture on the screen. That's him. Now, when I covered this story earlier in the week, I said, first of all, the prosecution only charged this guy with unlawful protest, even though it was clear that he had an extensive criminal record. He was in a white supremacist gang. These are all things that the federal government was aware of. And he was incarcerated in prison for attempted murder. He gets this light sentence, he gets this light charge, but he's connected to this terrible gang. Here's what I don't understand. I do not understand why these individuals are not being investigated as a broader network beyond the Capitol riots or beyond the terrorist attack. These folks are being investigated as individuals, not connected to anything else for the most part. These are cookie cut plea deals. Why are we handling it this way? There is no way a person who was involved in the January 6th riot, the terrorist attack on the Capitol grounds, should ever be charged with such a light sentence of unlawful protest. You know who else gets unlawful protest charges? Members of Black Lives Matter who decide to go in front of traffic. They get unlawful protest charges. So you mean to tell me that someone marching for the movement of Black lives and they happen to block traffic temporarily should get the same charge of unlawful protest as someone who raised the US damn Capitol? You mean to tell me that someone who marches without a permit, who does not have a parade license, who gets charged with unlawful protest, You mean to tell me that is the same crime as what these folks did at the US Capitol? It doesn't fit to me. There is something not right here. But you know what it is? You can see behind it. My job is to help highlight the nuances and the contradictions of this criminal justice system. It is sad. I hope at some point the federal government will release to us who are these corrupt law enforcement officials they are talking about in the indictment, and who are these state employees who assisted this murderous gang. Don't let up on that. Don't stop paying attention to that, because the development of the story is even more profound than the origin.